Hey guys, it's Alex Martin, host of Sidewalk Science Center at the Bradenton Riverwalk. Of course, we are under stay-at-home orders and quarantines right now. So I'm kind of doing this little series of videos, kind of just, get people interested in, what might be in the night sky, and then eventually we're going to start moving into more science experiments and talking about science education, science communication. So this is the fourth video in the past 10 days or so, somewhere in there. And today I want to talk about something that is starting today, which is the Lyrid meteor shower. So the Lyrids, they are beginning today. So you can go outside anytime at night and you will look up at the sky around midnight, 2 in the morning if you're up. And you're not going to see a ton at first, but around the 21st of April to the 22nd of April is when the Lyrid meteors actually peak. Of course, a meteor shower isn't a guaranteed show of lights dancing across the sky. Even the quadrantids, which take place in December, that was one of the most impressive I've ever seen with my own eyes. And I saw maybe 40 or so in a half hour, but it's not like they're streaking around all the time. That's a big misconception that people have. You want to walk out, you want to see these fireworks light up the sky of all these meteors, and then you're standing there. And you're standing there and your neck is getting cramped and you're like, where is everything? Like, they're lying to us. Like, I have to stand out here how long until these meteors show up? And even for me, it's like, I'll just park my car, sit back, and just be pointing up at the sky, and I get done after a half hour to an hour and my neck is hurting. But that's something, that comes with looking for meteors up in the sky. They happen several times a year. Some of the most famous ones are the Perseids in August. They usually peak around August 12th to the 13th. Of course, the quadrantids in December, which I never really paid attention to the quadrantids until this past December, and I got a great couple on video, but even just with my own eyes, standing out there down in Florida, it was spectacular just how many I saw. And, sometimes you go for long stretches with nothing, but then when they hit, it was just rapid fire, just like that, and then they disappear for a little bit. And then, I'd say the average was like 2 to 3 per minute, with some gaps in there. But it was such a cool thing to see. So if you go out looking for the Lyrids, don't sit there, for 5 minutes and say, well, there's nothing out there. This is something you're going to have to, be out there for the long haul. And especially if you're living in Florida, this is going to be a lot easier than if you're living in some place like where I am right now in Pennsylvania, where it was snowing today. So it's going to be a lot colder at night up here than down there. So, people in the South, if you're looking for meteors, you can camp out, lay on your grass or go out into the street and sit in your car or something. Keep an eye out. But if you're up in Pennsylvania, that 10 minutes, half hour to an hour, that's going to feel like a long time. Of course, where exactly is Lyra, or is Lyra in the sky? What the meteors are named after is the constellation of Lyra. And that is this little tiny one right there. So where do you want to look for that? Well, at about midnight, Lyra is rising to the northeast. If you face to where the sun rises and then turn to here in the northern hemisphere, you have to turn to your left. That will be about northeast, and that's rising at about midnight right now. Of course, for the duration of the Lyrids, that's where it's going to be rising. That's what time it's going to be rising. But when you see, if you stay out until like 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when Jupiter rises, and then Saturn and Mars following it, and Lyra will be right straight up above those 3 planets in the morning come next week. So that's where you want to face. That means that's where this meteor shower is originating. That's the point where the comma of the meteor, or the debris field of these meteors is. That's where the cluster of stuff that's going to be falling into the atmosphere, probably left behind, I don't know the exacts, probably left behind by a comet or an asteroid that broke apart or something. It passed through there, and now the Earth is traveling through it. So there's all these little rocks and chunks of ice and metals and stuff up in space that are just hanging out there. And they have this pattern where the Earth passes through it, and that's when we have a meteor shower, when the Earth is passing through debris in space. This debris isn't, some life-ending asteroid coming down on us. It's tiny little specks of stuff that's just floating around out in space, and most of it is the size of a grain of sand or smaller. But we can see these streaks, these flames up in the sky, because the velocity is traveling at more than 20,000 miles an hour when it enters the air. And if you rub your hands together, that's a lot of friction. There's a lot of heat being generated. When you're traveling at 20,000 miles per hour, you're catching on fire and disintegrating. And that's what we see when we talk about a meteor in the sky. We see the particle, the dust, the fragment of metal or dirt or rock catching on fire and streaking through the sky. Of course, different colors of meteors. I've seen some green ones myself, but a common one is white. There's some oranges and reds that you can also see, but different elements on the periodic table, depending on what the particle is made out of, will catch on fire a little bit differently from each other. This is also similar to fireworks. We use different elements and chemicals in fireworks to change the color. It's the exact same thing that changes the color of a meteor. It all depends on what it's made out of. So pay attention to April 21st and 22nd. You're going to want to look up there at about 1 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's the dead of night. This is the best time to see these meteors because that's where they're coming from and the Earth is heading straight in that direction at about 1 to 2 in the morning. So, you know, it's a good time to get out there, just lay back and enjoy it. You know, it's not going to be something that's immediately, you know, you're just going to see tons of them. Don't walk out thinking it's going to be a fireworks show. You know, take your time, you know, hang out, chill, you know, talk about astronomy, things that you find cool up there. And you could even wait for Jupiter and Saturn and Mars to rise, and they will be Jupiter will be very, very bright. And then Saturn will be right behind it. Remember how we said if you make a peace sign and stick your arm out, that's about how far away Jupiter and Saturn will be from each other. And then Mars will be this blood red dot that follows Saturn as Jupiter and Saturn both rise in the sky. So I hope you guys get a chance to look at the meteors. It's always a fun thing to see, like when you finally catch one, it's like, oh, I finally saw a meteor. This is one of several meteor showers throughout the year. Of course, the Perseids are some of the more famous ones. Those take place in the middle of August. And some of my favorite ones now are the Quadrantids in December. So definitely take a look into them. And I will catch you guys in the next video that I'll be making. I'm kind of trying to put these out every 3 days or so. And also stay tuned for updates about Sidewalk Science Center. Of course, right now I'm shooting for May 7th to reopen the astronomy portion with the telescope. And then May 8th to reopen Sidewalk Science Center itself. We're going to be evaluating what we should actually be doing. Of course, we're going to be following all the recommendations and guidelines. And if those dates get pushed back, I will put out a statement on Facebook and change the date of the event on Facebook. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I hope to see everyone back soon. I have really been missing getting to do Sidewalk Science Center, and I've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes for different kits, different activities, and I'm really excited to kind of re-roll out Sidewalk Science Center in the coming months. So stick around for next time, and to all our endeavors, because we have a future to create. I'm Alex Martin. Have a great rest of your week.